G'day and welcome back to the channel. We are now season M-4. So we are still in the M-B regulations. So nothing has changed since M-3, except all the ranks have reset and we are back to Pokéball. And a new battle pass is out for those that like extra cosmetics. We have our first opponent and we have likely Mega Sizzle, Garchomp, likely Mega Frostlass. We have Kingambit, our first Annihilate, and Sylveon. So if we take Gengar to deal with the potential bottom two threats, we then need something that covers the Garchomp and the Frostlass, which could be... then we also need an answer for the Sizzle. They have a lot of questions and unfortunately we don't have a lot of answers. They could very well set up their Aurora Veil, so Corviknight could be good here, especially against the Bisharp. But also looking, they're all physical except for the Sylveon and the Frostlass. So if we use Gengar to take the Frostlass and the Sylveon, Corviknight should be able to Iron Defense the remaining, and then we just take Garchomp to fill in the gaps. I think that is a solid team. We are, just probably going to struggle with the Sizzle. Again, don't have any fire on the team, so we will make do. They are a camper. And they lead with Annihilate, the Obnoxious. So our Corviknight here we're not going to be able to body press. We did take Gengar to try and cover the Annihilate. Maybe they've got like a Fire Punch, and maybe this is our opportunity to preserve our Corviknight and throw our Garchomp at Annihilate. Best case scenario, we get some rough skin. So they're using this opportunity to set up Stealth Rock. Okay, so is this like a support Annihilate? I don't know. Are we in a position to Outrage or Earthquake? I think Earthquake should be fine. It's just the Bisharp, which they're likely to have brought. So let's see how much an Earthquake does to Annihilate. 49%, maybe that's a low roll. They are going to bulldoze us, which doesn't do a lot of damage. So they've got a ground move and Stealth Rock. So they're not really ghosty and or fighty thus far. So we'll see. Not enough, and they've got a Citrus Berry. But that's okay, Garchomp's doing the job. They do have a fighting move. Question is, are they going to do that again? The Rough Skin is hurt. They didn't slow us down, so we should be safe to Earthquake here, because we were still faster than the last turn. So Earthquake picks up the KO here. So they've seen Corviknight, they've seen Garchomp. I guess they can assume we have Gengar. But there's the Frostlass. So in that case, we're obviously very threatened by a Blizzard right now. We're at only neg 1 speed, but I think that should be enough for Frostlass to outspeed us. So we will use this opportunity to preserve Garchomp for now. We may need it a bit later. We'll throw the Corviknight expecting a Blizzard, and then it also covers if they Aurora Veil. But they will Mega Revolt, which sets the weather. So it's whether they Blizzard or Aurora Veil here. They go for Blizzard, so they've gone for offensive. That does decent damage, but it's giving us an opportunity. Again, body press, not doing much here. We can roost to see if they now use this opportunity to Aurora Veil, and they do. So we will try and get some health back. Maybe we survive another Blizzard. Maybe we should just default, but Rooster's okay. Gets us one up back to 150. So, okay. Also, now that we know they've got Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt didn't KO. Now we can default to get rid of their Aurora Veil. So it's Aurora Veil, Thunderbolt, and Blizzard. So the question is, are they going to reset up the Aurora Veil or take our Corviknight down? Because they may not be able to do both. Let's put them in a bit of a pickle, it would seem. They're having a bit of a think about this. They're going to go for the offensive option and Blizzard us. So that now gives us an opportunity to get our Gengar in, who should be threatening a rather large Shadow Ball. So yeah, we know they've got Blizzard, Aurora Veil, but they're out of here. King Gambit comes in, so we did need the Corviknight, because they did have King Gambit in the back, so we might be setting ourselves up for a Game 1 loss in the new season. But we can at least Shadow Ball. This might be okay. Ooh, unless they are Defiant. So a big Sucker Punch from King Gambit here will clean us up. But it is why we have Destiny Bond, because I'm expecting the Sucker Punch, and Destiny Bond will force that to fail. Now we're set with that up. That should cover for the next Sucker Punch. So now we can Focus Blast. And it does connect, so that's lucky. And it is enough to KO, and we are back in the game. So Focus Blast coming in clutch then. That could have obviously just missed, and then the Kowtow Cleave would have connected. But now we see Frostlass back in handily just when the snow ends. And we should have enough firepower now to clean up the Frostlass. So we are faster. This should do enough to OHKO. So there you go. We're in a bit of a pickle then. The Destiny Bond Focus Blast helped us navigate the King Gambit and seal our first win. GG, camper. And look at all of that, and we get a performance bonus. And we just go up a single rank, but we'll see how we go. I'm pretty keen on this month's Battle Pass. I wasn't keen on previous Battle Passes, but I'll definitely collect the Starmie, Mega Starmie from last season. But this season, all the starters. So I bought a previous Battle Pass with the Embor, Meganium, and the other one for Alligator. But we have our next opponent, Man NBA. They have Garchomp, Blaziken, Hippowdon, Mimikyu, Toxapex, and Meowscarada. So I think Primarina actually covers the top three quite well with Moonblast, Energy Ball, or Mystic Water, or Sparkling Aria. And then we just need something for the Mimikyu and Toxapex and the Meowscarada. So I'm thinking taking the Corviknight, although it's only going to be to cover the Meowscarada. So if we take Gengar, that gives us a bit of coverage. We just need to scout out whether the Meowscarada, and I think we do that via Garchomp. That's the plan. So we've got pretty decent coverage with Primarina lead. But if they, on the 1 in 5 chance, they are a Fire-type gym leader, Man NBA. But the 1 in 6 chance that they lead with the Meowscarada puts them at an advantage against our Primarina, which we know we need for the others. So, are they going to go grass is the question. So turn 1, I mean, very likely that they're just going to Flower Trick here. It'd be a very bold move to try and call our switch and knock off, although knock off is pretty good. It removes items. So it's a good scouting mechanism to see what items we have. But we switch out. Let's see if they lock into Flower Trick. They locked into Triple Axle. So they did kind of expect a switch to occur, but maybe not to Gengar. And that is enough to KO our Gengar. Unreal. A stab Triple Axle. It did get disabled, so we are kind of a bit clear to get our Garchomp in, unless they swap to Mimikyu. But I don't think as an Ice type we've got much coverage with the Primarina, so we will take this opportunity now to reveal all the Pokemon that we have brought to this encounter so they can start immediately mapping out how to beat us. I'm not overly keen to lock into Outrage on the chance that there is Mimikyu in the back. So let's just lock into Earthquake. They're going to stay in and struggle. This will, cause some rough skin. They get some recoil. And we should be able to clean up here. So they obviously don't see a need for their Meowscarada anymore. That struggle did pretty decent damage. So you could see Blaziken or Garchomp, although they've got to bring a Mega, right? So what was their Mega? So this is one of the reasons I didn't want to lock into Dragon Rage. So we'll Earthquake to break the disguise. Hopefully we survive a Play Rough, which we might not. And I don't think switching, I guess maybe Primarina would be probably good. But they miss with their Play Rough. It is unfortunate. So if they're going to Play Rough again, I could just as easily swap into Primarina here. Absorb a Play Rough. Try and fire back. Maybe preserve my Garchomp for what they've got in the rear. Although we are not surviving another one of those. That is big damage from the Mimikyu. We get a Citrus Berry, so we should be able to survive another one of those. And then I think Moonblast is where we're going to do the most damage. They're going to use this opportunity to Swords Dance. They are faster than us, so let's see how much a Moonblast can do. Or not enough, but we do have Aqua Jet, but they also likely to have Shadow Sneak. So it is unfortunate that we finally got an opportunity to use our Aqua Jet, but we are likely to get outsped, but we are not. They decided to go for something else. Maybe Shadow Claw. Maybe they didn't have Shadow Sneak, and that has put them in a precarious position. This is kind of why I wanted Primarina, but also because why Garchomp would be good. However, their Mega Blaziken likely going to turn one Protect, get the speed boost, and Primarina we kind of need at full life. So yeah, there's the Protect. I mean, they were already outspeeding us anyway, but this ensures that our Garchomp Choice Scarfed will not likely outspeed their Blaziken either. But it's whether they can do 112 damage to us. I think we try Sparkling. Okay, so they did Swords Dance. This puts us in a huge benefit because now we get to Sparkling Aria. This will be big damage, and they know we have Aqua Jet. And yeah, Aqua Jet will clean up on 5%. So I'm not sure what their plan was to Swords Dance then, because they needed to take out the Primarina. Because yeah, we just Aqua Jet, and from here we clean up. So I think that was a misplay on them to go for a Swords Dance, thinking our Sparkling Aria was stab at double damage on a, unless they haven't invested, unless they've invested in bulk, but it didn't look like they invested in bulk. So we will go for a 2-win streak to start off the new season. And that almost takes us out of Pokéball. but we will continue. Having a bit of a good run at the moment. Again, yeah, leveraging off last season's experience with the team is certainly paying benefits. Again, it's one of those things where you actually become better at using a team than just, you know, trying some different team. But we have our next opponent, and it is going to be a tricky one. They do have Zoroark. So I've seen some pretty devastating games where people have led with Zoroark. They've also got Azumarill, Archeludon, Mega Dragonite, Mega Charizard, and Garchomp. So I think our Garchomp pretty much sweeps here, unless they have an Azumarill. So that's why we Gengar, and it is also why we Primarina. I don't think there's much negative there. We're just going to be Moonblasting, trying to catch a dragon off guard. But let's see what they decide to do. So they lead with Archeludon. We know a decent Earthquake does right here. They could use this opportunity to Stealth Rock. We've seen many different forms of Archeludon. But I think in all scenarios, a good Earthquake procs their Sturdy. Focus Sash. So they've gone for speed and damage. So no, it's the Zoroark. Very good. I was going to say, it's very weird for a Archeludon to be running Focus Sash when it has Endure, but it is the Zoroark, and we've caught them off guard because that's the combination that you run with Zoroark. You turn one nasty plot, and then it has enough speed to just start dominating with Hyper Voice. Not a strategy I've used on this channel, but it's something I've seen whilst viewing other games. Okay, so now obviously we're locked into our Earthquake. We're going to have to pivot here. What are we going to pivot into? I don't want to lose Primarina just yet. They could have, you know, Garchomp and Dragonite in the back. So I'm more likely or more willing to throw my Gengar at the problem, allowing us to swap back to Garchomp to Rock Slide. Because they've obviously figured out that we're Choice Scarf. It's the only way that you win the... Although if you did that, it was the only way we win against Zoroark, right? So turn 1 or turn 2, they should have pivoted knowing we were locked into Earthquake, but they didn't. They Solar Beamed. They didn't do a whole lot of damage, but now they're likely to swap to like a Weather Ball or a Flamethrower, so I don't think we can KO them with a Shadow Ball or a Sludge Wave. So my thought is just Destiny Bond, bring it down. They could maybe think we're switching to Primarina, but let us take down a Charizard. Because they are going to go for Weather Ball, and this is going to be big damage, stab in the sun, boosted, so we'll finally use our Destiny Bond to Mega take down a Mega. Unfortunately, I think we need to pivot first, but they've seen our Garchomp, so it makes sense to throw our Garchomp back out. It's something that they're familiar with, and we could have obviously also realised that if Zoroark is going to be illusioning a Archeludon, that there is indeed going to be an Archeludon in the rear. So one of the disadvantages of using Zoroark, but I obviously didn't click onto it. And they're running Foul Play. What is this? Another form of Archeludon. But yeah, unfortunately doesn't have enough juice to keep going. They had a plan, turn 1. If they could have nasty plotted and swept with Zoroark, they would have ran away with this game. But we managed to catch them off guard with the Choice Scarf Garchomp. And yeah, the turn 2, they should have pivoted, didn't. And then, yeah, just we capitalised well. Also, I think, yeah, the Solar Beam from them was a bit random. I think it was a bit of a gamble, a bit of a stretch to think we would pivot into Primarina. But even if we stayed on the Garchomp, it would have made, I guess, less sense to use the fire move. But that will get us out of Pokéball, and we should be allowed to continue battling into and towards Ultra Ball. So yeah, just silly little misplays or things that you overthink can obviously cost you the game. But we are on our next match against Trainer. And they have Greninja, Charizard, Dragaggle, Dragonite, the Goldengo, and Tyranitar. So I think in this scenario we do the same thing. We lead with Garchomp. Garchomp gives amazing coverage across the board, and it's something we're going to want to hold on to. We've got Gengar to support, and we're just going to take Primarina as well. King Gambit here, I mean, good against the Goldengo. Hippowdon, not really going to provide much benefit. The Corviknight could be good against the Tyranitar here, but I think that's about it. So we will bench Corviknight, and we will see if Garchomp can Earthquake or Outrage us. Sweep. And we'll continue to maintain our 3-win streak, hopefully. So they lead with Tyranitar. So they can Rock, Dark. They've set Sandstream. Switching into Primarina here is bad, but it does bait us to Earthquake, which they can take advantage of in 2 scenarios with the Charizard and the Dragonite. So 2 in 6 chance they swap out. They didn't. And that just cleans. Righto. See you later, Tyranitar. So yeah, Garchomp Earthquake, Stab, double damage, KOs. So now they've lost a lot of momentum. It depends here whether they do have... No, so it is Greninja. So again, we've seen in this scenario, unless they're Water Shuriken, we do outspeed. So this now reveals where Choice Scarfed. They do have an Ice Beam. Protein, get Stab. This could do big damage. It does indeed do big damage. Righto, cool tech. I've never seen Greninja do actual damage before, so the Life Orb helps. And the Sand takes it out. So we are Garchomp for 2. I think in this scenario we just bring in our Gengar, and if we can get away with a Cursed Body, we will. A Destiny Bond. So they have Charizard. They could Mega here and change the weather. So I think, yeah, we're just going to try and Destiny Bond the Charizard, just like we did in the last battle. I don't know if they're going to be able to KO us turn 1, but if they are, they'll at least go down, and we'll still have Primarina in the rear to capture the win. So let us see how this plays out. But yeah, Greninja, Ice Beam, Sandstorm after an Earthquake is KO. And yes, it is Charizard Y, so it will set the sun here. Drought. We will get our Destiny Bond up, and hopefully they Weather Ball or Flamethrower. Let's see. They go with Weather Ball. So 100 base power, stab, double damage, or not double damage, but neutral damage. They even get a crit, so 1.5 damage. And that will take down their Charizard and win us the game. GG. Yeah, that was... I don't know if switching. I guess they could have switched the Tyranitar straight into Charizard. Would have given them, obviously, the initial boost. Because, yeah, I'm not sure what they locked into with Tyranitar. But that would have been a potential hard counter for our Gengar. But they decided to sack the T-Tar, switch into Greninja, and it didn't work out well for them. So good to learn from other people's mistakes as it is to learn from your own. We have our next opponent, and we've got Volcarona, Mega Mawile, Garchomp, Dragaggle, Umbreon, and Ninetales Alolan. So I think we need to lead Corviknight to cover most. Covers the Mawile, Garchomp, and the Alolan Ninetales to a degree. And then we Garchomp to take care of most of the rest, and Gengar as well. So yeah, King Gambit here, not ideal. Hippowdon could be good against the Mega Mawile and the Volcarona and the Dragaggle. But we've got Garchomp for that, so that's not a worry. And yeah, I don't think we need... I mean, Primarina could be good against the Umbreon and Garchomp. But I think we're okay. If we can set up our Iron Defense, we've got Defog if they bring the Alolan Ninetales. They are Ninja Kid Cryface. Is that Cryface or Sadface? So they lead with Umbreon, which is good for us because Body Press is good damage against Umbreon. But let's take this opportunity to Iron Defense, so we do big damage with our Body Press. They're out of here. So what's their answer to Body Press is Volcarona. Fair. So we could have also considered them pivoting here. But they could have foul played. They could have done some taunt. So we're not in a great position here with Volcarona out in the field. So we'll need our Corviknight a bit later. So we will take this opportunity to pivot into our Garchomp. Gives us our Rock Slide, which will do 4 times damage to Volcarona. Now half because of the Will-o'-the-Wisp. But should still do pretty decent damage. I mean, we're still threatening. So, yeah, full Rock Slide. They haven't Quiver Danced or anything yet, but they're out of here. Back to the Umbreon. Righto. So, how does this play out if our 2 versus their 2 is a bit of an issue? So we've revealed we have Rock Slide. We pivot back to Corviknight. What do they do here? You could foul play. They do. Which obviously doesn't do a lot of damage. I don't think we take this opportunity to Iron Defense again. We can try and call that they will swap to Volcarona. And just get some free damage on it. But this is where it gets a little bit mind gaming, because they could just as easily think we're going to pivot on the chance that they think they're going to pivot. So, but they are going to pivot. It's in their best interest too. But they go to Dragaggle, which is not a great counter to Corviknight. I mean, yeah, the Body Press is not very effective, but they're Poison Dragon. What are they going to be doing to us? I don't know. Unless they've got lightning or something? I'm confused by this play. I think we Roost. It's Mega Dragaggle. Righto. I have not encountered Mega Dragaggle before. It looks crazy good. It looks like a legendary. We are faster, so not sure what they have, but we're roosted for it. It's Flip Turn. Righto. Mega Dragaggle Flip Turn. What's the strategy there? So they go back into Volcarona, and we're obviously not going to hang around for that, but they could see what it is we're doing and just as easily not Will-O-Wisp. But I think Volcarona is going to be our biggest challenge. So they do take this opportunity to Fiery Dance. Doesn't do a lot of damage to Garchomp. We were already burned. So, do we do what we did last time and just try and Rock Slide? But they could just as easily pivot or stay in. No, they're going to pivot. Okay, so they're in very of the mind to pivot, which they're inclined to do. We're inclined to cover them if they don't pivot, which kind of forces them to pivot. But I have a plan. The plan involves us scaring off the Umbreon. And we do that by pivoting to Corviknight. And they'll foul play, which does a bit of damage. Now what do they do? They are inclined to they have been immediately pivoting. But a body press here is just a free body press. Okay, so we could have called them out then, but it's fine. They go back to Dragaggle, who just flip turned. Oh, did they flip turn? So they could decide what are they just always going to try and be ahead of us? So they could flip turn again and put themselves back into... I think that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to put a bit of pressure on. Have them flip turn again back into Volcarona. We get a crit, which is nice. They do indeed flip turn back to Volcarona. This is a very 3v3. So there's the Volcarona. So they've got to know that we're switching now, right? So, but if we switch to Gengar now, they've got an opportunity to get Umbreon in. Let's do it. So they know we probably last time we switched to Garchomp, so they could not Fiery Dance here, but they do Fiery Dance. Okay. We do survive, and we disable their Fiery Dance, so they can no longer Fiery Dance. But they've got every opportunity now to swap into Umbreon, which I don't know if that's a bad thing. Do they stay in though and try and survive? Do we Destiny Bond? They've done big damage to us. I so reckon they swap into Umbreon here. I'm going to gamble. Yeah, okay, so they do swap back into Umbreon. Excellent. So it's why we Sludge Waved. So this should do okay damage to Umbreon. And Umbreon doesn't have any priority moves. We outspeed Umbreon, so this is our opportunity to take down Umbreon. So let's get it done. Sludge Wave here. Ooh, they are specially defensive with leftovers. So they likely foul play here. So, if we take the opportunity to Destiny Bond or just Focus Blast. Now, they're pretty specially defensive. So, if we Destiny Bond the Umbreon, I don't think that's the best play. We're kind of really threatened by the Volcarona, but easy KO. Because they were going to foul play if we swapped into... Kind of just speeds the match up a little bit. Because now they're forced to do one of two, and both I think we Earthquake. Although if we can get rid of the Volcarona, the Corviknight should be able to clean up the... So there's the Dragaggle. So this I think is the scenario they've been hoping for. Because their Dragaggle won't just be flip turning this turn, might actually be using a Dragon move. So we'll see if that Gengar Umbreon trade-off has paid dividends. Because again, they're likely to flip turn now where we can roost. We know we're faster than them. So this is where they turn to their Volcarona. But this is where we're not overly threatened now. Garchomp isn't overly threatened by the Umbreon. Now this has been quite the mental gymnastics to navigate. Because we should be able to survive a thing here. A Fiery Dance. Yep, so they do for Fiery Dance. I think they might have us here. So they know we Rock Slide here. So they are likely to... They get the special attack boost, which is nice for them. But I think they're going to swap into their Dragaggle here. And I'm going to try and catch them out with an Outrage. It's only going to do half damage, but it's what we've got. So let's go for it. Because they can't Umbreon now. They do stay in, so they called us that. Because they know that we've been rock sliding previously, and that would have done 60% damage. But we're kind of locked in now, so well done to them. I think they've been able to manage to navigate the win for themselves here. And yeah, I guess throwing Gengar off against their Umbreon wasn't the correct play, because all we can do now is body press, and I doubt this is going to do any more. They can also Will-O-Wisp us, which is what they previously did, but yeah, they're just off to the Fiery Dance, and that was more than enough to KO, so... We had a 50-50 then. If we'd have... Oh no, even if we went for Rock Slide, we wouldn't have been KOing, unless we got the flinch. So there was a very small window likelihood for us to navigate there. But the Will-O-Wisp on our Garchomp early was rough, for sure. Had we have gotten rid of the Volcarona, then actually Corviknight could have swept the game. So maybe that was the actual strategy that, thinking back, would have been good to have, because Corviknight could have cleaned up the Umbreon and the Dragaggle over a series of turns. But we're on our next match. We see Swampert, but no immediate rain setter unless it sets its own rain. We see Melodic, Mega Meganium, Mega Metagross, Mimikyu, and Hydreigon. So, in this scenario, we could lead with Primarina. Primarina gives us great coverage. We obviously bring Gengar, and we bring Garchomp. Because, yeah, King Gambit gives us Metagross and Mimikyu coverage. But that's really about it. Hippowdon... No, we lose out to the water and grass, so that's scary. And then, yeah, we've got Corviknight. But we've only got body press on Corviknight, so it's going to lock us in a bit of a tizzle if we take that. They're on a 4-win streak. Let us see if we can break it. So they do lead with Melodic. So our call to lead with Primarina is good. We're not overly threatened here by Coils and Muddy Water. They are just going to Scald us, so that's not going to do a lot of damage. They might be fishing for a burn, but they get it. Well done to them. Doesn't impact our Energy Ball at all. So this should do exactly half. So now they've got an opportunity. They can survive another hit for sure. But if all they're going to do is Scald, are they going to hang around or leave? That is the question. And that is a rather large Melodic, and it is just going to hang around and keep doing some scalding damage. Does that mean to tell us that Melodic or our Primarina solos the remainder of their team? And if that's the case, do we need to hold on to our Primarina? Because why would you sit here scalding is confusing. unless they also have Mega Swampert. So, assuming that they Scold again, we are going to risk our Garchomp. I guess we could have risked the Gengar, but we may need the Gengar later on for the Meganium. They go for the Recover though. With the... Okay, so we've got Recover and Scold. And they're happy just to sit there scolding, which is crazy to me. So, if we look into Outrage, it kind of fishes the Meganium out. Let's do it. So, Outrage should do okay damage here. Yeah, not enough to KO, but they've got Ice Beam, which probably KOs us. We live. So, we're on board to do that again. And this time we should be able to clean up. So, it'll force them to pivot because we're locked in. And they do. So, here's where we could see Mimikyu. Okay, so we now know what else is in the back. Hopefully it was only a 2 Outrage, and it was. So this obviously gives us opportunity to switch into Gengar, because obviously Outrage is not going to be able to do anything, and we are locked into Outrage. So they could use this opportunity to Swords Dance, or they could play rough, but they are going to lock in. We could Shadow Ball here, obviously not going to do much. They could Shadow Claw, so on the off chance that they maybe Shadow Sneak as well. Let's try and catch them on a Destiny Bond, because I think that's the best play that we have, given what we swapped into. So +2 Shadow Sneak might KO, and it does. We are in a huge pickle here, because a +2 Shadow Sneak's pretty much going to clean up our whole team. Because leading into Garchomp, we're just going to get cleaned up here. And then even Primarina, I don't think can survive +2 Shadow Sneak. So, not sure, because we stayed in. The fact that we had to pivot gave them the opportunity to get +2, and clicking any button didn't matter anything, really. Like, even if we Moonblast here, we still haven't broken Disguise. So, they're just faster than us. Shadow Claw. Mimikyu Sweep. Unreal. Yeah, well timed on them. The Outrage was bad on us. The Outrage put us in this position, really. Because we should have been able to clean the Disguise on when it pivoted in. That's that problem with clicking Outrage against Melodic. Although we could have just stayed in and KO'd it, but I wasn't expecting them to just, recover. So, bit of a misplay there, piloting error. Well, time for a few more. Goal is to try and make it to Ultra Ball, but we're just making mistakes left, right, and center. But we have a new opponent. We have Mega Lucario, Sylveon. We've got Manectric, Mega Victory Bell, Gyarados. So I think in this scenario we lead Corviknight. I'm on the assumption that they're going to lead Gyarados here. If they don't, we've got Gengar to clean up the Sylveon, and the Frostlass. Then we just need something to take out the Manectric and the Lucario, which Garchomp is really good at. So I think looking back against, on this, we Garchomp and Gengar a lot. And then we just try and take another Pokemon to try to fill the gap. Seems to be the going rate for this climb. But they went with Lucario, so we're free to Iron Defense here. They are Fizz, so they go for Brick Break, which must be the best thing they have. Would have been a worry if they Aura Sphered. They're now Iron Defense, obviously not yielding dividends, but they've got Brick Break and Vacuum Wave, and neither are overly effective here, which puts us in a position just to Body Press if they're going to hang around. Then we can do a +4 Body Press, which should KO. if they're not focus sashed. And they are not. So, if they lead Frostlass now, we're in a bit of trouble, but they've got Sylveon. So let us boost. We are faster than Sylveon, so that's good to know. Maybe if it had a Fire Blast, we'd be worried, but they've got Moonblast, which is only doing about 36 damage. So let us use this opportunity to see what a +6 Iron, +6 Body Press does to a Sylveon. Sylveon's usually stacked with a lot of special defense, so I'm not overly keen to switch to Gengar, because I'm not sure Gengar is going to be able to do any more damage than a Body Press. +6 Body Press at least. But let's see. Ooh, that is big damage. We could have done 2-hit KO'd on a +4. Because yeah, Sylveon's not physically defensive, so I think they're just happy just to keep Moonblasting. Cool. So yeah, we'll clean up the Sylveon and see what's left in the back. Corviknight sweep. All right. It is Magnetric, so I don't know if they just weren't worried about the Corviknight. I'm assuming that they're going to use some sort of an electric attack. So let's try and capture that with our Garchomp. They did try and Thunder Fang. It's not going to work. They didn't Mega Revolve, so they're just going to eat an Earthquake. Unless they're locked in. So this should KO, so we'll never know. So yeah. Not sure what their strategy was on that occasion, but they should have gone straight into Magnetric instead of the Sylveon. That's a bit of a misplay from them, but we obviously would have then just switched into Garchomp a bit earlier, so not sure how. I mean, a battle could have evolved, but they just sat there Moonblasting Corviknight with their Sylveon when they should have swapped to the... I guess they could have done that turn 1-y as well, but we'll never know. On to our next opponent. And they have a very similar team to what we fought previously, except they may have Mega Delphox, they may have Mega Lopunny, Garchomp. So again, in this scenario, we will lead Corviknight, because that gives us some good scouting opportunities. Then we Garchomp and Gengar. Because yeah, whilst Kingambit could be good here against the Delphox, not really. I mean, Sucker Punch is going to be good. I don't think it's going to be enough to maintain with the remainder of what they have. So I'm expecting maybe a Mega Lopunny lead here. I don't know if you would lead with Goldengo, but let's see what they decide to do. They lead with Garchomp, so our Corviknight lead here is strong. It allows us to set up our Iron Defense early. It forces them to pivot or set up Stealth Rock, I guess. So it's more of a support Garchomp. Because yeah, not likely they're going to be able to do much damage to Corviknight, so we will take this opportunity to just continue building. We were only overly threatened by the Goldengo, so we'll see if that comes out. But they're happy to stay in. So Stealth Rock and Dragon Tail, so fair enough. It was an option for them. So now we know their Garchomp strategy. Maybe we should obviously clue into that a bit faster when we see the Stealth Rock. That Dragon Tail is probably not too far behind. But they're likely going to Earthquake us here. So not much we can do about that. And we can swap back to Corviknight. They could Dragon Tail us again. If we use Gengar's Destiny Bond here, we can just take the Garchomp down. And then we've still got answers for potentially what else they've got in the back, but it frees up our Garchomp to take the win. But they are just going to keep Dragon Tailing. So maybe Garchomp comes out here. And they're not going to be Choice Scarfed. And are we overly threatened by... No, we should be free to Outrage. I'm expecting them to Dragon Tail again. So if this doesn't KO and we get a switch back into Gengar, we're in pretty good position here. They're going to Dragon Tail again. It's decent damage. And we're just really banking on Gengar coming back in here. Gengar comes in, we're in a good position. And it is Gengar. Excellent. So we don't need to Shadow Destiny Bond here. We can just Shadow Ball unless they swap into the Lopunny. So let's take the gamble. This should obviously clean up the Garchomp. And excellent. So they didn't swap into Mega Lopunny. So we've got an option to do what we want to next turn. Let's see what they decided to bring. It could very well be the Mega Lopunny. But whatever they decide to bring in will be Shadow Trapped or Shadow Tagged. And we have revealed Destiny Bond, so they know we have that. But I also know that a Shadow Ball against Delphox here does absolute damage. So we outspeed, they don't have priority. Actually, I don't think it KOs. I think it's pretty close. But again, oh, wow, I'm not familiar with how they are faster. Oh, is Mega Delphox faster? Oh, that might be my bad in not understanding the speed tier of the Mega Delphox. I didn't think it outsped Gengar, and that's obviously going to cost us the game. I obviously won't be Earthquaking here. I think our only way out is Fish 4 Flinch, but we don't even hit with the Rock Slide anyway, so all good. Psyshock will take out our Garchomp and our Corviknight. Maybe. But I don't think Body Press is going to be doing much, that's for sure. But we will give it a go. Maybe we Iron Defense first, because I don't think Body Press, not very effective, is going to do anything. But they've also got Mystical Fire, so it didn't really matter. We just got absolutely taken to the cleaners by Mega Delphox. Well done to them. I'd almost be keen to swap Mega Gengar out for Delphox. If Delphox is faster, that's big damage and gives us access to fire. So that would be cool. But we will see. We now have access to Mega Delphox. So for those that weren't around in our MA, to get a Delphox, Mega Greninja, and Mega Chestnut, you needed Pokemon that have come from Legends ZA, which I've not yet played. It's something that we can watch on the channel, and if that's something you're interested in, leave a comment in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll probably have our last opponent for the day. Again, in this scenario, or rather, I think in this scenario, we lead Garchomp, or actually, we lead Primarina. On the off chance they lead a Powder or Hydreigon, Primarina would be good. But also, yeah, Garchomp, Gengar, I think here would do quite well. But they looked in quite quick, which makes me think maybe Hippowdon or Hydreigon. They're on a 4-win streak, so let's see if we can end ours by ending theirs. So they lead with Glamora, Poison Rock, they're likely Toxic Debris, so we should be fine to Sparkling Aria here. They're going to Sludge Wave. Ooh, we live, barely. So we get our Citrus Berry, we've got Sparkling Aria, and then we've got our Aqua Jet to follow up. So that should hopefully surprise them. They've got Focus Sash, so they were okay to hang around there. But yeah, this should hopefully surprise them, because they might stay around and Sludge Wave again, unless they're going to call it, and it's too risky to lose their 4-win streak. Let's see. They are having a think about it, so maybe they have... Yeah, so they realise Aqua Jet's coming. Well done to them. They're going to use this opportunity to swap into Hydreigon. So they're probably using not a bit of risky to throw a dragon move at us. So we could expect a Dark Pulse, but we might live a Dark Pulse. So they might Flamethrower, but that's going to be doing even less damage. Because, yeah, non-stab, not super effective. So our Moonblast should pick up here. Because that's 4 times damage, being strong against their Dark and Dragon. So they've mucked that up. So now it's just a 1% Glamora and Mega Charizard. Mega Metagross. Okay, so in this scenario, we could afford to lose Primarina, get Garchomp in, and start Earthquaking. So let's do that. I don't know if we outspeed a Metagross, but let's see. They might not Psychic Fangs us, they might Meteor Mash us and miss. They just go for a Bullet Punch though, so that'll clean up our Primarina and allow our Garchomp to switch in for free, and we'll just start Earthquaking. And that should end their 4-win streak. Sorry, not sorry. Whoa, that's big damage. Critical hit to really seal it. I mean, even if we didn't OHKO then, a Psychic Fangs or a Meteor Mash from them wasn't going to seal the deal. So we would have been able to do it again, and we've also got Gengar on the back. So all good, GG. That was swift. Yeah, I think the Primarina League just won us the game. And the call on the Hydreigon. Because, yeah, Primarina just basically took down the Glamora and the Hydreigon, so sick. And that will boost us to Great Ball Rank 2, where we will leave for today. Maybe make some changes, maybe trial a new team if that's something you would enjoy, let us know. Otherwise, if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and I appreciate your support. Otherwise, until next time, take care and enjoy. Thanks.